Hey everybody, it's Jo Beckwith. Welcome back to Trauma Talk. I wanted to elaborate a little bit more on what I talked about yesterday, which is why we so commonly blame ourselves after horrendous things happen to us. It is really common to end up blaming ourselves and turning to self-hatred after we have been abused, be that sexual assault, neglect, domestic violence, whatever it is. We end up feeling at fault for it. In yesterday's video, I explored one reason why I think that's so common, but I wanted to talk about another reason why I think it is, and that's because abusers intentionally make sure that we end up feeling that way in many cases. This serves two purposes. First, it helps to alleviate their guilt. If they can honestly convince themselves and us that it is our fault for the things that they're doing to us, they don't have to feel as bad. If they really, can feel like, you know what, honestly, you did lead me on, or you made me get this angry at you, they don't have to feel so bad about their actions and they don't have to take responsibility for them mentally. But a more powerful reason to make your victim feel like everything is their fault is that if someone feels like something is their fault, they are going to be a lot less likely to talk about it, to speak about it, to report it, to tell someone. If you feel like everything's your fault, you're not going to want to say something, right? And it is really common for abusers to use their words and their actions to silence us. For instance, in my story, I was in a relationship with this guy for 11 months. Abuse escalated all throughout that time, and he would constantly say things and drop pieces of wisdom along the way to twist everything so that it was always my fault for what he was doing. But I remember when the worst thing happened after I was sexually assaulted, the worst time, he told me, see, I told you this would happen. I told you this is what I do, this is what girls make me do. And he had never told me that that's what girls make him do, but he had said enough things about his past and his story that I kind of believed him. I kind of was like, oh yeah, he did warn me that this is what he's like, so I guess I should have seen it coming. I guess I should have known he's this horrible person. It kind of is my fault. I got myself in this situation. Now that's just one example. There were a lot of other mind games he played and a lot of other things that he did, but that was one piece that he used to kind of twist me and make sure that I kept my mouth shut. Now it didn't work. Eventually I broke free of that relationship and did speak out. But it is really common, like I said, for abusers to want to silence their victims. And so if you feel like everything is your fault, if you hate yourself, if you go through your story and look at all of the ways that you got yourself in that situation and it's all your fault, I would encourage you to pause and take a step back and perhaps look at the words that were used against you. I'm willing to guess that in a lot of situations, they were often used to manipulate you and make you feel subtly or outright like things were your fault, like you are to blame. Oftentimes this will be with words like you led me on or you made me do this, but it can be any variety of things or actions. I know that self-blame is one of the hardest things to fight. It still comes up for me, like I've said in other videos, but I know now that it's not true, and I know for your story it's also not true. If you were abused by someone, that's their fault. The responsibility is fully on their shoulders. It honestly does not matter what you did. If they chose to hurt you, that is 1000% their responsibility and not yours. I know that it's easier said than believed, but that is the reality of the situation, and I really hope that you are able to work towards finding peace and understanding that you are so worthy of love, that this was not your fault, and that the person to blame is the person who hurt you and not you. Does this ring true for you in your story? I know it's not the case for everyone. I'm not saying it is, but it is really common for abusers to twist our words and make us feel like we are to blame, and that is a hard thing to break out of, but it can be done. I would love to hear your thoughts and any of your story that you would like to share. I am Jo Beckwith and this is Trauma Talk. Thank you for tuning in. Please take care of yourself and hit subscribe if you'd like to see videos like this in the future. Thank you so much. I'll talk to you soon.